The petitioners claim that Tennessee's SB 1 violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, which reads, "No state shall deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws." So how can the petitioners claim a violation of the Equal Protection Clause? On its face, SB 1 incorporates two classifications, one based on age, allowing certain medical treatments for adults but not minors, and another based on medical use, permitting puberty blockers and hormones for minors to treat certain conditions but not to treat gender dysphoria, gender identity disorder, or gender incongruence. Classifications based on age or medical use are subject to only rational basis review. The plaintiffs argue that SB 1 warrants heightened scrutiny because it relies on sex-based classifications. But neither of the above classifications turns on sex. Rather, SB 1 prohibits healthcare providers from administering puberty blockers or hormones to minors for certain medical uses regardless of a minor's sex. While SB 1's prohibition references sex, the court has never suggested that the mere reference to sex is sufficient to trigger heightened scrutiny, and such an approach would be especially inappropriate in the medical context, where some treatments and procedures are uniquely bound up in sex. The Supreme Court has established a precedent that classification based on age and medical use only requires rational basis review. Remember, this is not law, but the history of the court. Now, while the petitioners, the plaintiffs in the original case, argue that because the classifications are sex-based, they should receive a higher level of scrutiny, I find this laughable for two reasons. First, the transgender movement keeps claiming that sex and gender are different. So if SB 1 prohibits the use of these drugs for gender identification, how is that sex discrimination? Second, SB 1 doesn't discriminate based on sex since the sex of the recipient is not a consideration. The application of SB 1, moreover, does not turn on sex. The law does not prohibit medical treatments for minors of one sex while allowing those same treatments for minors of opposite sex. SB 1 does not exclude any individual from medical treatments on the basis of transgender status.